Hi everyone, and welcome to the Pactful Information Session brought to you by the Jacobs Institute for Innovation in Education at the University of San Diego. We believe teenagers don't have to wait to become adults to begin building a better world. They can start today. When we examine where inventors grow up, represented on this chart by the darker blue colors, we can see that geography matters. Where you grow up impacts your access to innovation culture. When we look at innovators by gender, as you can see here, only 18% are women. And women founders receive only 2% of overall venture capital funding. This gender gap in innovation is shrinking gradually over time, but at the current rate, it would take another 118 years to reach gender parity. When we look at innovation by race, we can see a disparity, especially within Black and Hispanic communities, with lower rates than their counterparts. Your chance of becoming an inventor in America is also heavily influenced by your family's wealth. As we can see on this chart, your chances of inventing rise as your parent income rises, with those in the top 1% of wealth being 10 times more likely to develop patents than those who live in poverty. When we look at innovation from a global perspective, you can see where you live within the world affects your likelihood to innovate. From the white areas on the map, you can see we have a ways to go to ensure innovation is accessible to everyone across the globe. This loss of potential innovation diversity has economically impacted our country in the billions of dollars. Entire regions and entire segments of the workforce are impacted by lack of access to innovation culture. Bell and Chetty, two economists from Stanford, believe that we can quadruple the rate of innovation by recapturing these lost Einsteins, which includes women, minorities, and children living in poverty or certain geographic areas. Our solution to capturing these lost Einsteins is Pactful. This free virtual design thinking curriculum was created by the Jacobs Institute to help teens become social good innovators. Social good can be defined as working collaboratively to create solutions for the betterment of the whole, or in this case, the world at large. Pactful is aligned to the United Nations global goals to improve the planet, and it introduces students and their teachers to the innovator's mindset. Within the Pactful app, students create solutions aligned with the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which were created by world leaders to address physical, social, environmental issues, and more. By addressing these goals, students can engage within their communities to make a difference at both the micro and macro level. Now let's briefly talk about how Pactful works. Within the curriculum, students work through the design thinking process, creating solutions for their problem. Design thinking is a nonlinear, iterative process which seeks to understand users, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions to prototype and test. Student teams will follow 3 phases: understand, ideate, and prototype. Students don't have to complete the phases in a linear order. For example, a team may start with the prototype phase first and then go to the understand phase. They may have to revisit the understand phase and then go to ideate. Students are more likely to be engaged when they have choices and autonomy in the process. After all the phases have been completed, students will create a video pitch to tell the story of their innovative solution. There are many design thinking models that can be used within the classroom. Our model, Pactful, combines some of the design thinking steps to ultimately reach the prototype or solution. On this chart here, we have a comparative grid matrix of some of the commonly used models. I have to point out here, this was created by one of our teachers currently using Pactful. We like to keep our lines of communication open with teachers for feedback, suggestions, or any helpful contributions to make the user experience a great one. Some of the benefits of Pactful is that it supports nonlinear learning because innovation doesn't always occur in a neat, linear, and sequential pattern. Its design mirrors innovation in the workplace and avoids constraints, including grades. However, it's completely at the teacher's discretion if they want to apply grades on their own. Pactful has a fully developed curriculum with a teacher's guide, innovator's guide, and activities to follow, and we'll go into that later. Teamwork is encouraged because it helps students to engage socially with their peers. Student teams are given the autonomy in choosing their global goal, project titles, group names, the order they will progress through the design thinking phases, and of course, by creating their own innovative solutions. Lastly, Pactful encourages and supports teacher feedback loops, in which teachers are able to provide continuous feedback to students on their work throughout the design thinking phases. Teacher feedback loops allow teachers to provide continuous feedback to students on their work throughout the design thinking phases. Here's an example of the workflow process. A student submits their files and the teacher provides feedback. In this case, the phase was returned and then resubmitted by the student on behalf of their team. With the unique, innovative solutions being created by students, we are building a showcase of social good solutions aligned to the 17 global goals. This collection will become the foundation to further thinking about some of the world's most challenging issues. We have the capacity to data mine and analyze how students tackle social good innovation, how far they progress, where improvement is needed, and how we can use learning analytics to make improvements. Teachers should begin by reviewing the Teacher's Guide, which is the ultimate resource for any educator. It was created to help guide you along as you seek to gain understanding and get started within the app. It even has helpful suggestions for primer activities to get your students acclimated to new terms such as SDGs and design thinking. It also provides resources and recommended virtual communities you can join to connect with others who are doing similar work. Students should begin by reviewing the Innovator's Guide, which includes introductory information about social good innovation, design thinking, and more. It also includes the names, descriptions, and information sheets on each global goal and resources of how social good and design thinking is currently being used around the world. Students can find other helpful materials, including a team member contract with the guide. After reviewing the Innovator's Guide, students can begin navigating through the phases. In the Understand phase, students seek to discover or research more about the problem. Students will gather important facts, stories, and other details through interviews and observations. It's important not to make any assumptions about the problem based on personal experiences and personal opinions. Students should strive to be as objective as possible, understanding that problems are complex and we don't always know everything about every issue. Within the ideate phase, students will state the problem and brainstorm solutions about their selected global goal. Here is where they should try to create several original and unique ideas for the problem, then narrow it down to one. Within Pactful, there are several activities students can choose from to complete this phase. Within the prototype phase, students will use their creativity to invent a helpful solution. It's the time when they will design, build, and test their prototype. Students may choose to create digital prototypes, for example, 3D prototypes using applications such as Tinkercad, Google Blocks, and Tiltbrush. Other digital solutions could include an online curriculum, website, or video game. Physical prototypes can be built using craft materials and supplies found at home and at local or online stores. This type of prototype requires designing, testing, and iteration. Pitching is the student team's opportunity to sell their solution. Students will use persuasive strategies and narrative or storytelling conventions to convince their audience to believe their prototype can really make a difference for the betterment of this world. The goal in this phase is for students to set the stage, build suspense, and reveal their solution as the hero that solves the problem. Check out some of our cool social media posts from student teams participating in the Jacobs Institute Changemaker Challenge. This is a creative way for students and teachers to share their work through photos and videos as they progress through Pactful. You can follow us on Twitter at Pactful App and follow our YouTube Pactful channel. To sign up for Pactful, visit pactful.org. Click on the Sign In tab, and you notice that you have the option to create account as a teacher. There's also the option to create an account as a student, but you're going to click on the teacher, and it's going to take you to this page where you have some preliminary questions. After you complete these, scroll down to the bottom, agree to the terms, and click on Sign Up with Google, and then you're all set. If you have any questions, would like to know more about Pactful, or connect with others using the platform, please visit pactful.org and join our Pactful community today. Thank you for joining the Pactful information session. We look forward to building a better world with you starting today.